Hi, it's Jamie from Hello Fidelity. How are you? Recently, I posted a video of my first impressions of using the Edifier MR4 speakers. And whilst I know I posted that video a week ago, I actually bought and filmed that video back in December. So since then, I've been using the speakers. So it's been about 6 months now. And in this video, I'm going to share my thoughts and my experience of having used the Edifier MR4s for about 6 months. To me, there are two kinds of sounds. One where the sound is the focal point, and the other where the sound is just kind of just there. So when I put on a record, I want it to feel special. I want the sound to be the center of attention. But when I plug in the MR4s, I just don't get that same sense of specialness. While there's nothing particularly flawed about it, I also don't find the experience particularly memorable either. And I think that's why I ended up using the MR4s in the living room, where I watched movies with it, played video games, and also played music whilst I was cooking dinner. Pretty much in situations where the music just was there. Now that's just my subjective take on it, and it's hard to explain why or to really back it up with any solid evidence, because the MR4s measure quite well on all objective tests for its speakers in this sort of a range, as per audio science reviews tests. And even to the subjective ear, I think it sounds good. It has pretty good bass. It's small, convenient, easy to use, suitable for small environments, and the price point is great. And another plus is that it has 3 sets of inputs, 2 in the back, 1 in the front. And what I find interesting was that it doesn't actually switch between them, so they all mix in together. Throughout the 6 months of using the MR4s, I would say my biggest pet peeve of these speakers is the volume control knob. It doesn't turn continuously, but it goes step by step. And what I find is usually the first step is a little bit too quiet, but then the next step is too loud. So the kind of lack of precision in the control makes it a lot less comfortable and enjoyable to use. The other thing that I noticed about these speakers is, well, with the white version, is that the shades of white on the panels are slightly different. So the front panel is a true white color, but then the side panels and the back is slightly textured, and it's in an off-white shade. And so when you've got the stark white and the off-white put together, from certain angles, it just makes the speaker look faded or yellowed, and that also bothers me. But like I mentioned in my first impressions video, it is nice to have speakers with the built-in amplifier because it does make for a cleaner setup, as you can see here. So in summary, the sound is clean, there's good bass, the look is decent. The only thing is, the volume control makes it difficult to find a comfortable listening volume on, and perhaps I personally also find that the speakers just lack a little bit of character or story for me to really embrace it. So as I was writing up my notes in preparation for this video, I realized that I didn't really like the MR4s, but I couldn't figure out why. And so I started reflecting on it. And then I went on Google Scholar and I looked at some research papers on the science of like and dislike. And 2 things stood out to me that I wanted to share with you. First, that our motive for buying something is really important in influencing our first impressions. And secondly is also when we purchase something, it's also about the kind of reference target that we use and have in our minds to compare against what we just bought. And so that got me thinking about how, I purchased this pair of MR4s because I was doing the Technics SBF1 reviews, and I wanted to look at, what would about $150 get you in today's market. And I wanted to use it as a price point comparison. And even in that case, I guess the MR4s are actually a better value because it comes with a built-in amp. But anyways, so just the whole motive of buying it was already to compare with the SPF ones. And because I do love the SPF ones, so I was thinking that maybe in my mind, just unconsciously, I feel like there's competition there. And perhaps I feel like if I like the MR4s, that somehow, goes against my loyalty towards the SPF ones. And maybe that's why there's this psychological resistance on my part of wanting to like it. I don't know. But I think another main thing probably for me is just the fact that I personally just feel this affinity for vintage and used gear, and I feel like there's just something more unique and special, more of a story when it comes to that, and that comes into my listening experience. Whereas with the Edifier MR4s, while there is really nothing wrong with it, except I would say the volume knob, everything is good, but there's just something lacking that makes me not want to fully embrace it, and also doesn't make my listening sessions that memorable or particularly enjoyable. And in fact, it makes me really just use them as speakers for when I just need some sound, rather than these are the speakers I would pull out if I was fully invested in trying to get good sound, if that makes sense. So thank you for watching and for staying here with me today, and I look forward to seeing you in my next video. Bye!